Hacking U.S. Government Systems, 2020. In the shadowy world of cyber warfare, where nation-states silently battle for digital supremacy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, orchestrated a daring and sophisticated cyber operation in 2020 that targeted U.S. government systems. This audacious campaign, carried out by Iranian cyber operatives linked to the IRGC, infiltrated U.S. government websites, defaced official portals, and spread propaganda designed to undermine public confidence and sow chaos. For the IRGC, this cyber offensive was not just an act of digital sabotage. It was a calculated maneuver aimed at retaliating for the U.S. assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, projecting Iranian power into American cyberspace, and demonstrating Iran's ability to strike at the heart of its most formidable adversary. The genesis of this cyber assault can be traced back to January 3, 2020, when a U.S. drone strike near Baghdad International Airport killed General Qasem Soleimani, the commander of the IRGC's Quds Force and one of the most powerful figures in Iran. Soleimani's death was a seismic blow to Iran's strategic ambitions and a direct challenge to the IRGC's influence across the Middle East. Enraged by the assassination, Iran's leadership vowed to retaliate, and while conventional military responses were carefully calibrated to avoid triggering all-out war, the IRGC's cyber division prepared to strike back in the digital realm. The IRGC viewed cyberspace as the ideal battlefield to exact revenge without provoking a full-scale military confrontation. Unlike traditional warfare, cyber operations offered Iran the ability to strike at U.S. targets while maintaining plausible deniability, allowing Tehran to escalate tensions without crossing red lines that could trigger devastating American retaliation. With its highly trained cadre of cyber operatives and a network of sophisticated digital tools at its disposal, the IRGC was ready to demonstrate that Iran's reach extended far beyond the physical world. The IRGC's cyber operatives, operating under the guise of various hacker groups with names like Iran Cybersecurity Group and Martyred Soleimani Hackers, launched a coordinated campaign targeting U.S. government websites. Their objectives were twofold. First, to deface and disable U.S. government portals, and second, to spread anti-American propaganda that glorified Soleimani and portrayed Iran as a vengeful force determined to punish its enemies. The first signs of the IRGC's cyber assault emerged on January 4, 2020, just a day after Soleimani's assassination. Hackers defaced the website of the Federal Depository Library Program, FDLP, replacing its homepage with a blood-red image of President Donald Trump being punched in the face and an ominous warning, "This is a message from the Islamic Republic of Iran. We will not stop until we have taken revenge for our great martyr." The defacement was accompanied by images of the Iranian flag, portraits of Soleimani, and anti-American slogans, making it clear that the attack was a direct response to the assassination. While the FDLP website itself was not a high-profile target, the symbolic nature of the defacement sent a powerful message. The IRGC was capable of penetrating U.S. government systems and leaving its mark in cyberspace. But the FDLP defacement was just the beginning. Over the following weeks, Iranian hackers escalated their operations, targeting multiple U.S. government websites, as well as state and municipal portals. These attacks followed a similar pattern: deface the websites, spread propaganda, and demonstrate Iran's ability to infiltrate U.S. digital infrastructure. While the defacements were often superficial and did not result in the theft of sensitive data, the psychological impact was profound. Each attack served as a reminder that Iran's cyber operatives could strike at U.S. systems with relative ease, undermining public confidence in the security of government institutions. As the campaign intensified, the IRGC's cyber operatives shifted their focus to more sophisticated operations. Beyond website defacements, Iranian hackers attempted to exploit vulnerabilities in U.S. government networks to gain deeper access to sensitive information. Using spear phishing emails, malware implants, and other advanced techniques, the IRGC sought to establish persistent access to government systems that could be used for future intelligence gathering and sabotage. U.S. intelligence agencies quickly identified the fingerprints of Iranian state-sponsored actors behind the attacks. Cybersecurity experts traced the activity back to IRGC-affiliated groups, such as APT-33, Elfin, and APT-34, Oil Rig, well-known Iranian cyber espionage units that had previously targeted Western governments, energy companies, and critical infrastructure. These groups, operating under the direct supervision of the IRGC's Cyber Command, had refined their capabilities over the years and were now executing a campaign of asymmetric digital warfare against the United States. The IRGC's cyber offensive was not limited to symbolic attacks. In addition to defacements, Iranian operatives engaged in cyber reconnaissance, probing U.S. government networks for vulnerabilities that could be exploited in future operations. They targeted voting infrastructure, municipal systems, and even private sector entities that played critical roles in America's digital ecosystem. The objective was clear: identify weaknesses, gain footholds, and establish a foundation for future cyber operations that could be leveraged in times of heightened tensions. The IRGC's cyber campaign in 2020 was part of a broader strategy of cyber deterrence, designed to create uncertainty and unpredictability in U.S. responses to Iranian provocations. By demonstrating its ability to infiltrate and disrupt U.S. systems, the IRGC sought to deter further American aggression and raise the costs of any future confrontation. The IRGC understood that while Iran could not match the United States in conventional military power, it could exploit the vulnerabilities of U.S. digital infrastructure to level the playing field in cyberspace. As the attacks continued, U.S. officials publicly warned of the growing Iranian cyber threat. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, issued multiple alerts, urging government agencies and private sector organizations to strengthen their defenses and be vigilant against Iranian cyber activity. Behind the scenes, U.S. cyber defense teams worked around the clock to identify and neutralize Iranian threats, but the damage had already been done. The IRGC had succeeded in demonstrating that Iran could retaliate in cyberspace with impunity, and that America's digital infrastructure was far from invulnerable. The impact of the IRGC's cyber operations in 2020 went beyond the immediate disruption of U.S. government websites. The attacks exposed critical vulnerabilities in America's digital defenses, prompting a renewed focus on cybersecurity and the need for greater resilience against state-sponsored threats. The incident also underscored the evolving nature of modern warfare, where nation-states could engage in asymmetric conflict through cyberspace, bypassing traditional military confrontations and exploiting digital vulnerabilities to achieve strategic objectives. For the IRGC, the cyber attacks on U.S. government systems were a resounding success. The operation had achieved multiple objectives. It had retaliated for Soleimani's assassination, projected Iranian power into American cyberspace, and demonstrated Tehran's ability to disrupt U.S. systems at will. The IRGC had shown that Iran's reach extended beyond the physical battlefield, and that its influence in the digital realm was growing, posing a persistent and formidable threat to U.S. national security. As the dust settled on the cyber battlefield, the IRGC's message was clear. Iran's cyber capabilities had matured, its operatives were relentless, and its ability to strike at the heart of its enemies, both in the real world and in cyberspace, was a reality that could no longer be ignored. The hacking of U.S. government systems in 2020 was not just a retaliatory act. It was a declaration that Iran had arrived as a major player in the world of cyber warfare, ready to challenge the dominance of its adversaries and assert its influence in the digital age.